Edgerton High School Alternative Program. Option 2, Civics, Chapter 19, Freedom of Assembly and Petition. Learning objectives. The students will be able to explain how the First Amendment guarantees the freedom of assembly and freedom to petition. Explain why freedom of assembly and freedom to petition are important in a representative democracy. Describe the protections and limitations of freedom of assembly, and describe the protections and limits of freedom to petition. Words to know. Assemble, to gather or meet together. An assembly is a gathering of people, organized to join in a group in order to work together. Picket line, a group of people who protest something by marching in front of a building and carrying signs. Violent, showing or acting with strong force that causes harm. Unofficial, having no legal power. Riot, an out-of-control fight among many people. Organizing for change. In the United States, the First Amendment guarantees people the freedom to assemble and freedom to petition. Freedom of assembly means that groups of people can meet peaceably whenever they want. People can hold public or private meetings to talk about their ideas and problems without fear. They can organize to work together. They can plan to work for change. Freedom to petition means that people can ask their government in writing to take some action. People sign their names to the petition. Government can then see how many people support the idea. Freedom of assembly is important. Your right to speak freely is guaranteed by the Constitution. It would not mean much unless you had the right to tell others your ideas. You can then learn new ideas from listening to others. The right to assemble allows you to make plans to solve problems. Freedom of assembly gives you the right to organize with others into a larger group. The United States is a representative democracy. Local representatives may speak for thousands of people. Alone, you may not have much power when asking your representative to do something. The larger your group, the more likely it is that your group voice will be heard. Freedom of petition is important. Freedom of petition gives you the right to ask in writing for changes in government. It upholds the rights of free speech and press. In Chapter 11, you read about initiatives, referendums, and recalls. Each is a kind of petition that people can use to make new laws, stop new laws, or remove people from office. Freedom of assembly. Protections. Right to hold any assembly or meeting as long as it is peaceable and has no illegal purpose. No state or local government can pass laws against such meetings. No one can stop people from going to meetings. No one can arrest people for attending meetings. Supreme Court has decided the right of assembly also covers picket lines. The First Amendment protects marches and other kinds of peaceful gatherings. People must be allowed to assemble in public places. Local government must protect the people who assemble. Limits on freedom of assembly. No one has the right to assemble for any illegal purpose. Police can stop a violent assembly or one which tries to lead people to violent acts. Local government can put some limits on assembly in public places. They can make sure that marches, picket lines, and other assemblies stay peaceful. They can also make sure these assemblies do not block traffic or keep people from getting to stores and offices. They can make fire safety rules, saying how many people may safely gather in a meeting room, and can set responsible fees for people who want to hold meetings. Freedom to petition protections. There are two kinds of petitions. Referendums, recalls, and initiatives are all official petitions with legal power. Unofficial petitions have no legal power, but when enough people sign an unofficial petition, the government is wise to pay attention. Freedom to petition is protected by the Constitution and by case law, Supreme Court decisions. You are guaranteed the right to sign petitions and to go to public places to ask people to sign your petition. The limits on freedom of petition. Usually petitions must follow a set form. The rules must be followed or the petitions are no good. People who sign a petition must write their full name and addresses. They must live in the town or city where the petition was written, and they can only sign one time. In some places, only registered voters can sign a petition. A town clerk or city attorney can supply the petition rules for your town or city. Landmark changes in the law. In 1965, entertainer and activist Dick Gregory organized a group of people in Chicago saying the schools were moving too slowly in ending segregation. They formed a group to talk to Mayor Richard Daley, asking him to hire a new superintendent. They decided to organize a march to show how they felt. 85 people marched from City Hall to the mayor's home and formed a picket line. A large crowd of Daley's supporters, over 1,000, tried to scare the marchers, yelling and throwing rocks and eggs. Police asked marchers to stop even though they were marching peaceably, fearing that a riot might break out. Gregory and some of his followers were arrested for breaking a Chicago law that forbade gatherings that bothered other people. The case was taken to Supreme Court in 1969. The court ruled that the assembly was peaceful and it was the duty of the police to protect the marchers even if their assembly annoyed others. Summary: the First Amendment guarantees people the freedom to assemble and the freedom to petition. Freedom to assemble is the right of people to meet in groups, to exchange ideas, or even to criticize the government. Freedom to petition is the right of people to ask the government in writing to make changes. There are both protections and freedoms or limits on the freedom to assemble. Freedom to dissemble covers picket lines, either in worker strikes or protest marches. Local governments must also protect people who assemble from harm or persecution. No one has a right to assemble for an illegal purpose or to encourage violent acts. There are protections and limits on the freedom to petition. You are free to sign petitions and have the right to ask yourself to sign your or to ask others to sign your petition. Here's your quiz. Good luck and see you in class.